got a good crew today. We got Drew Johnson with the hat backwards, bringing the shenaz.
Right.
Bringing the heat.
Business casual.
There you go. Casual business, right? Or no, yeah, business casual, yeah.
Right. So, hey, we are waiting to hear back from Brent at the moment. So we were actually just going to kind of open it up first, just to have people kind of throwing up some wins of, some successes that they're having in their attraction business.
Well, I think the first win is Tim Warman. Is it Warman? Warman? How do we say it, Tim? Did he freeze on me? Anyway, that background is incredible, right? Like,
yeah,
that's a win. I'm like, look at that. That is just visually appealing as all get out, man. I want to duplicate that.
No, he's there. I see your eyes moving, Tim.
Yeah, he's there. Do you hear us, Tim? I don't know. He's trying to find the unmute button. I don't know. Anyway. And then we got Canada represented, and Mark.
Yeah.
Always looking debonair.
The one and only John's side, the beast. He's here.
Oh, is he here too? Nice.
What? My beast is here? I love seeing that.
The beast is in the room.
Yeah, I want to tell you guys something. You were talking about wins, Drew, to get it back on track here.
Yeah.
I just wanted to let you know, I just got off the phone, just seconds ago with a real agent, and she's coming to Cabo with us. So she'll be there at Cabo as a guest. And so I'm fired up about that. Her big thing is that she's working with the team. That team came from KW over to Real, and then now she has got them. She's working on all of them to come with her to XP. So we're working on that. So I'm pretty excited about that. So it's all because I'm learning so much for all of you awesome winners on this call.
So there we go.
Hey, we can't leave Steve Jones' comment unattended to here. So he's put a plug in. Thank you for me. Thank you to Gail and a track boss. But really, you're doing the work. You're showing up. You're making the calls. And as a result, look at that. You've got you had a new agent join your organization last week. You've got 2 join apps set, 2 in one day. Jeez Louise, let me ask you this. Come off mute. So before a track boss, and again, this isn't some huge plug on a track boss, so please understand we're just killing some time here. But anyway, that's phenomenal results. I mean, even the top attractors in the company would like to have those type of results, right? And this is the 1% club. So what were your results before a track boss? And really what it is the community of those that want to do agent attraction as a professional high level and change their life financially. So what was it before? And obviously, we got the results now.
Matthew, I went months with nobody, just a complete desert, months. And I attribute it to starting with you guys with the 60-second story.
There you go.
Changed my whole approach to it. And I'll cuss a little bit. I just calmed the hell down.
Yeah.
And I got my story, and it's working now.
Yeah.
Your system, my story, and it's working now.
And that is, while we're waiting for Brent to come on and all that, that is number 2 of the 5-step process that we teach that if you want to be a professional attractor, number 1 would be, obviously you got to have a list, right? And it can't be in your head. It's got to be written down on paper. Who is it that you're going to target? Who is it that you're going to reach out to, and so on. And number 2, I think, is the secret sauce. I think that is the key that unlocks the door, and that is your 60-second story. Because most people go, well, I got some names, I got some people that I want to reach out to, but I don't know what to say. Like, how do you get started? So where do they default? What's your script, right? And I'm not a big script guy, because I think when you default on scripts, you're not listening to the prospect. Right. And so when you have a 60-second story, you bring rapport, you can self-edify in a story form, and it allows the prospect to come alongside you hip to hip and go, I kind of like this guy, Steve. I got some things that I relate to in his story and what have you. And before you know it, you start building rapport, and they open the door to want to listen to what you have to say. And then you can get into, if you carefully weave your story of your past and so on, and what led you to EXP and what you're experiencing now. Even if you're a brand new agent, haven't even sold a house, you can still talk to the highest level of top producers out there, because if you get to the point of your story where you're talking about, you and your success currently, and you don't have any because you're brand new, you talk about your business partners.
Yeah.
And you can even de-edify yourself in a funny way. Like I would at times, I'd say, well, I'm the underachiever of the group. And they would go, well, you're doing something right for them to keep you around. Right. So just by telling the edification of my higher level, success partners, it allowed me to continue the conversation. And they would never ask me what I sold. Well, how many did you sell last year?
Matthew, I think the reason we're doing so well in this group is it's no different than my MFO days. When I was with Mike Ferry, we would role play.
I'm like MFO days. What?
Yeah. So
there's a story.
There's a reason we sell a lot of real estate. People like John Sy, I know him from my Mike Ferry days, right? Because we're consistent. Every day we build this community and we're role playing, and then we go in and we hit the phones, right? So we get really good and really comfortable. And we know that we are better than most agents out there. So we're going to really help people. So we come from that place. And the same thing here. We know EXP platform is amazing, right? So why wouldn't we want to bless these people? So we're not making it about us, we're making it about them. And I think because there's 7 different coaches in this group, somebody who's never ever picked up the phone and attracted an agent can easily relate to somebody. I mean, look at Clark. Clark is in our every single morning, right? Mm-hmm. And you're crushing it. And John, and I mean, there's so many people. And David Lawson, what? Where have you been? I haven't seen my buddy.
Right.
But
and Dave Cadune,
amazing people have been in there, and like Pam shows up every day. So we have built such a, and we can do 3-way calls together. It's just been incredible. I mean, I've added in 4 months 20 people, so it's working. So it's really.
Gail, I want to add to what you guys are saying too. I think a lot of people they have a disconnect where I do really well in real estate, but I don't understand this attraction part. I don't understand recruiting. I'm not a recruiter, but I'm really good at real estate. What most people fail to realize is that the correlation between real estate to attraction is so close. The same concepts, the same things that you have learned and you've taken time and put in effort into getting better in real estate is the same exact thing on attraction.
Right? 100%. And that's why I still role play and I still call expireds and I still door knock, right? And I don't have to because I'm making 6 figures, right now just with my attraction that I put into force, ever since we joined the Birdman and Stewart. I mean, it's just been incredible talent, and it's, why are we at EXP? It's such an incredible platform if we're not going to exercise the best gift they have.
Amen to that, sister. I love it.
Matthew and Gail, can you guys elaborate a little bit? I know on part of your guys' the 5 steps, it talks about I don't know if you guys call it needs analysis or where you're finding more about the person, about the agent.
Yeah, so that would be part of the presentation, which is step 5. To do a needs analysis, but you got to get an appointment usually booked first, because if you're calling somebody out of the blue, you can't just jump into a needs analysis necessarily. Although as you get skilled in your phone conversations, you are asking questions for clarification, and questions causes you to be in control of the conversation. And you're going to ask detailed questions to learn about their business and look for points of entry that you could offer solutions to ultimately book an appointment to do a deeper dive, not necessarily just in the deeper dive of EXP in the model, but a deeper dive in their business and what their wants and needs and desires are. Someone that's brand new, that's a year or 2 years in the business, is going to have probably very different needs analysis than someone that's been doing it like me, 28 years, and understands the cost of the transactional treadmill and the cost of making great money, but yet you don't have the time. You're not really living your best life when you're trading time for money. Your best life is when you have your time and money and you have choices, right? You could choose to continue to sell real estate because you just truly love it, and that's great. Or you could choose to say, I think I'm going to get off the transactional treadmill and my lifestyle doesn't go down. It's still okay, right? And that's the power of that residual revenue share, residual income type income that we get at EXP. So, but just the 5 steps real quick, since we want to bring value to while we're waiting for Brent and so on. is
Which,
you got
by
to
the
have
way,
your,
Matthew, it looks like it might be that I'm going to be running it, and you and Gail will be helping me.
okay, great. Well, let's get into some value for people because we got a good amount of people here. So let's just get into it because I don't want them to feel like this is just some attract boss pitch. I
Well,
will.
then everyone, before Matthew, before you even go, just know everyone on here right now. Okay, the Matthew and Randy and Gail are all people that we love, that we trust with ourselves, that have directly learned from Brent himself as well.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the what they are putting together, and that what they have done such a great job of putting a system to what they have learned outside of Brent and from Brent. Okay, the exact stuff that they are talking about, I've been the benefit of learning firsthand from him, as right there next to him hundreds and hundreds of times, right? It is exactly what he does in the process, but what they did is they actually created a system with it. So it is great. So please don't take it as a pitch, but these are people that we do endorse and love, and they know what they're talking about as well. And I'll interject, throw some stuff in from Brent as well.
Absolutely. So we'll just kind of get into some value here. We broke down the recruiting process basically into 5 steps, and then you can go break it down each step even greater from there. But number 1, as I said, would be the list. You should start in your warm market. What does warm market mean? Well, these are realtors that are in your phone. You'd be shocked how many realtors. I think Brent only got to like G or H in his phone, I think, as the story goes. So you guys all have a tremendous amount of realtors saved in your phone as you've gone and closed transactions and so on. You can pull up in your MLS your past history of your closings and look at who the agent was on the other end. And if you've been doing this 3, 4, 5, 6 years, there's a ton of agents you close deals with that you don't even remember. So go back in the MLS history and pull that up, and you have an easy talking point. You're like, hey, Jared Davis, it's Matthew Stewart. You probably don't even remember me, my man, but we closed a deal like 3 years ago on 123 Main Street. Remember the one with the, it had a swamp cooler and it was, it didn't even have air conditioning, and oh yeah, I remember that deal, or whatever, right? So like you just pull up points of interest and things, and just you lead with a compliment. Like, Jared, you handled yourself so well and so professionally on that deal that I always, kept your information. I saved you in my phone and wanted to circle back around and stay connected with you, because in the industry, those that are truly professional, you can having a license is one thing, but being a true professional in the industry is a whole nother deal, and it's a small crew, and you're in there. So,
and the point on that one too, Matt, please, everybody know that there has been plenty of times that Brent himself has turned down people in this recruiting game. Okay. We have a saying here that your vibe attracts your tribe. Okay. Just know that the people that are on your front line, you are married. Okay. You are doing life together, which is an amazing thing. But don't be, it's the same thing of when you get better and better in real estate, and you get to choose who you work with, right? You lose that commission breath, right? When you're talking, like Shay had put a question up there of how do you talk to people that you don't really know? First and foremost, make sure you don't have that commission breath, right? And just try to get to know them. And what you'll find out is that you'll find people that you really get along with, right? Like Matt's talking about, the people that you're like, you really were a great professional in that transaction. I would love to work with you together more, right? And then you're going to find people that you're like, I hope I wish you well.
You're safe.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. But yes, Shay, to talk, go on about Matt, go on about Shay's question of getting to know someone, that she doesn't know.
Yeah, I think that's a great question to bring up. And I'm probably a pretty good person to answer it because I'm here in Roseville, California, and Brent Gove really put EXP on the map here. No one had really heard of it. And Brent and I were in the same real estate office at one point in Keller Williams, along with Tom Daves, #1 realtor in the world 7 times, along with Don Yoakum, who was the #1 owner in the world for Keller Williams with 30 offices and built 10 of them from scratch to over 2,000 agents, along with Gail, just a city hop, skip, and a jump away. You got all these beasts in the industry, these first ballot Hall of Famers. And here I am. And I'm like, oh, I need to call my warm market. Well, I'd call and they're like, oh yeah, I talked to Gail, or yeah, if I joined, I'd join Tom Daves, or yeah, Brent already talked to me like 3 years ago. And I'm like, holy cow. Like it felt like I was pretty darn saturated. Probably wasn't the reality, but all the circles that I ran in were with all these guys. And so we all knew the same people, and, and so I said, okay. So I actually called people outside my market. Now, I'm telling you, call people in your warm market, because very few of you on this call are going to have that type aspect that I had here in the Roseville, Sacramento area. There are agents I call in other cities, they've never even heard of EXP. Imagine that. We have people that go, no, what's EXP? I haven't heard of that. And I'm thinking they're being sarcastic, but they're actually being truthful. So they're still like today, so if I were to call agents outside of my market, which I do regularly in Attract Boss all the time, I have agents in 30 states and 4 countries now. The key is step number 2 that Steve Jones alluded to, and that is you got to have your 60-second story. You got to have that nailed, because that's the door opener of creating a bridge of relationship, because we're both in real estate. We both can have key talking points, and you can start out with, well, hey, how's the market out there? I'm in California. It seems like everybody's leaving here, and doggone it, if it isn't Texas, that's one of high on the list, or Florida or South Carolina or wherever, it's like they seem to be going there. How's your market there? Is it still going gangbusters? How long you been selling real estate? The key is to ask probing questions so you can really learn about your prospect. And again, you're trying to find areas that you can build a bridge and build a connection to, so that then you could go even more into your 60-second story of why I left Coldwell Banker to go to Keller Williams, why I left Keller Williams to go to Avalar, and why I left there to go to eventually EXP. And I can, once I know my story inside and out, I can tailor it and tweak it based on the recruit that I'm talking to and what would be most relatable or build the most rapport with them. If
And
they're
that's
totally,
and Matt, that's a big point that I really want to point out to Shay's question, right? That Matt's talking about, and this is just how you guys do it. Think about it like a listing presentation, right? Where you're talking and you have what you would normally talk about a listing presentation, but you're asking questions and then you're diving deeper, right? Tell me why that's important to you. And they give you a little tidbit, right? A little bit more. Oh, tell me more about that, right? And then you find your angle, right? Which then you can utilize what Brent's taught us before. If I would you, right? If I insert what they're looking for, would you insert what you're looking for, right? So Shay, if I were to be able to tell you that I could help you to get from 30 listings a year to 50 like you wanted, would that be worth 15 minutes of your time to sit down with someone that, for example, has done 4,000 listings in their career? And what I'm talking about is I'm going to get them on a 3-way call with Brent Gove, right? Or you come up with another, if Matt is in your organization, right? If I could tell you that I could get you in touch with one of the head coaches in the area, in the country, when it comes to real estate, would that be worth 15 minutes of your time? Right? You utilize what you have, and what Matt's talking about is find that angle to make that connection.
And honestly, Drew, it's really about finding out what they need. What is that rock in their shoe, right? Like we always, talk about what is their present positive? What is their present negative happening? What is their future positive? And what would that look like with your future negative if it didn't happen? So when you make it about them and just ask questions and let them talk, then they lean into you, right? Because otherwise we come at them and like some recruiter. But if you actually care and listen, then you're going to get the best conversation going. And I'll tell you what, I have watched Matt Stewart and Randy Bird and Jeff Sutherland, people like, I don't know, no way. And I was on a 3-way call with Matt with like $50 million earners. And they were like, I don't know, in Maryland or something. Their lowest amount was $5 million. And man, they love Matt. And it was a cold call, right? And they were second generation or something like that, taking over her mom's business. How does he weave that? And it's because he genuinely cares and he's asking the right questions. So if you're just making about EXP is this, and I was going about it all the wrong way. So I'm learning every single day. And it's even hard for me to make calls when I'm doing it with these guys, because I'm leaning in and I'm like, oh my God, what did he just say? And I'm, writing it down, and I'm like, it's just been super cool. And you know what? The boss man, Coach Randy Bird, and I used to pay Randy $1,500 a month to coach with him, to just spend time with me to learn how to do this. And I'll tell you what happened. I was doing it with my partner, big mistake, because she was just like not all in, she was like running here, running there. And when I found this community, when Randy asked me to join them, I felt like Gone with the Wind. I don't know nothing about agent attraction, and it was one of those things where I was scared to death. I'm like, please don't call on me. David knows that. David Lawson, my luxury buddy right there. I love. But it's just been such a metamorphosis where you just gain the confidence. I mean, we just did a first thing today, right? Our maiden voyage of what is Attract Boss alike, right? And we did a 30-minute thing, and Matt just led it. We came running from that to this because people have the wrong idea about what is agent attraction. I don't want to be that. That's yucky. But look, every time you turn around, is there somebody that just joined? You wish you would have talked to them. Here, at least you learn the right approach, right? And you may not learn it right away. Like I didn't become a good expired caller for a good couple of years, right? Now I can call any expired, and pretty much I can guarantee if I stay on the phone, even just 1 hour a day, 5 days a week, I will get 3 listing appointments, 4 listing appointments, easy. And I was just doing a demonstration yesterday, and I got my first 2 phone calls, right? So it's like, it's just feeling comfortable and passionate about what we have to offer and knowing what they need. And it's not everybody.
It's all about those repetitions, right? That's consistent.
Putting in your reps, 100%.
We have some huge superstars on this call right now that have done amazing amounts of real estate, right? Mm-hmm. And we all sucked equally when we started.
Yep.
Right? There is, was it Tony Robbins, or it might have been Jim Rome, talks about that we're all equals in souls, but not equal in the marketplace. Okay? And the difference between the people that are getting the results versus the people that are not doesn't mean that we're all not great people, right? It's just that they're making the calls, they're doing the work, just like we all started out with, like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can go after an expired listing, until you made that first call, and then you made the second, and you got more consistent, and then you were doing it every day, and then all of a sudden you got a bunch of listings out of it. It's the same thing with this.
Well, let's do this, just because we got 7 minutes to go. I want to respect the time, and I want to give value. I want to give the 5 steps. I don't want to leave you hanging. I saw some people taking notes, and they're like, oh, we got to end the meeting. I only got to 2 or whatever. So let me buzz over that. And then if there's some time, we can add to it and so forth. So to recap, those that hopped on, you got to make your list, make it long and strong. The longer your list, the more names you write down, the more bulletproof and confident you'll be. Because when you get 2 or 3 or 4 no's, it's okay. You got 96 more, right? If your list is 8 and you get 4 no's, you're kind of freaking out. You're like, oh my gosh, this is hard. So, and then number 2, your 60-second story. That is the key that unlocks the door to everything. Number 3, we put it as scripts. I'm not a huge script guy, but yeah, you should have some talking points. You should have some rebuttals for when they give objections, because you will get objections. You will get, I love my broker and I just capped, and all these different things. It happens to all of us. And so one of the values of being on the community, of hearing all these 6-7 coaches making live agent attraction calls on speakerphone, you get to hear the rebuttals, the objections and the rebuttals and so on. And then we do role playing and so forth. So you will really, the power of the scripting in step 3 is having this community together. And we do it every single day for 15 to 20 minutes before we get into live calls. And we as coaches go, okay, David Mills, boom, here's the objection. I love my broker. Go. What is it? And you're like, it's okay. You're better to stumble with us than on the phone, right? And then you get better. And next time I do it, okay, David, I love my broker. And you're like, oh my gosh, I can appreciate that. I love my broker too. Loyalty is so important. And you're off and running. We're like, David, remember a month ago? Oh my gosh, you're rocking. And you go, yeah, because I got 2 people signing up because of it this month too. Thank you. Right. So number 4, you got to have a follow-up system. I don't care if it's an Excel spreadsheet or a whiteboard, all around your office here, you got something, but ideally it should be a CRM, right? It should be a relationship management software that you have some drip or follow-up type campaigns. At the very least, it's a drip or follow-up to trigger yourself to follow back up and call Pam Teresi, because, you know, she said no 6 months ago. Hell could freeze over, and you could call her and go, hey, I just wanted to call. I thought hell froze over. How are we doing? Are you open? You know, just kidding. But anyway, you need to have some sort of follow-up system in place. And then number 5 is super, super important. You got to have your presentation dialed in, right? So Brent always says, don't send the video. You want to watch the video with them. If they're within your market, 2 to 3 hours away, that's still in your market, i.e. Brent on a Friday night drove down to San Jose, 2.5, 3 hours away to show Rick and Casey Jiha the video. And today there's over 3,000 agents that have had their lives changed because of that drive down to San Jose on a Friday night. So don't miss out on the opportunity of getting in front of people personally. If they're outside your area, then what you should do is get them on a Zoom. Don't send the video. I used to do that. I was not coachable. I did not listen to our coach, Brent Gove, my buddy. He's like, don't send the video. Don't send the video. I'm like, if I send more videos than, you know, if I send 5 or 6 in a day and they're only watching 1 or 2 in a day, I'll get ahead. No, it's like trying to start a fire on a green lawn that's recently watered by throwing sparks. They're never going to take. Right. And so I had to realize, okay, I'm not being fully coachable. I need to take a step back so I can go 3 steps forward. And so I was then watching the video with people, and it was like throwing sparks on a dry grass, you know, field, and it was taken off. And that's when we really started to grow. So, so you want to watch it with them in your market, in person, or on Zoom out of your market. Then in the presentation, what you want to do initially is you want to teammate, as Gene Frederick says, tell me about yourself. You want to listen. You want to ask questions. You want to do that needs analysis like Drew Johnson was telling us about, okay? And I wasn't doing enough questions on the Zoom appointment. I was getting into telling all about EXP. I was EXPing on them. It wasn't until I started realizing that it's more, what's in it for them? Why are they taking the time to hop on with me? I need to learn about them and their business and where they want to go. I may not be the one. I would not commit to coaching them as Drew said, like, hey, if I can help you get another 20 deals, it doesn't have to be me personally coaching them to get another 20 deals. I can be the connector. I can be the conduit to plug them into 80 hours of live coaching at EXP from icon level producers. I can get them plugged into coaching programs within EXP. I can get them, you know, I can be the conduit. So remember that, even you that are newer in real estate, you're like, how am I going to coach an icon? Well, it's not about you. It's about your success partners above you. You need to know their stories and their skill sets and their talents, because you're going to just basically plug and play your prospects into these different success partners you have. Okay. Yep. And after you do the needs analysis, then you'll briefly give your 60-second story again for relatability. And then, you know, what I do, I typically show the 9-minute video that's out there, because I do a 30-minute schedule time. And then I tell them, I go, we're not going to have enough time to go deep into stuff and get solutions for your business. This was just a baseline overview. I always book a meeting from a meeting. Okay. And so you need to have that in place. And I have that in place before I end that 30-minute initial Zoom meeting. Yep. And I tell them, and then I give them homework. I got this from Brent. Brent says, always give them homework, because we're trained K through 12 that we had homework as kids. So even as an adult at 48, I'm like, oh my gosh, homework. I got to get my homework done. And maybe some of you are like that too. So a prospect's no different. And Brent would say, hey, can I get an agreement from you? Can we be in agreement? And they're like, and he gets serious and they're like, yeah, can we agree to stay in curiosity mode? Can we agree that we don't need to make decisions? That's not what we're here for. We're here to stay curious. Can we be in agreement on that? Yeah, we can. Great. Can I give you some homework? And if I gave it to you, would you watch it? If I would, you, right? Well, yeah, absolutely. Great. I'm going to give you a video that's a deeper dive. We only did a 9-minute. We're going to go into a 30-minute presentation tonight. I want you to get your spouse, get a glass of wine tonight or a glass of tea or coffee in the morning before your workday gets going. I want you to get a notepad and I want you to really dive into this thing. Leave your phone on the charger in the other room. Can we agree to that? Will you watch it before our meeting tomorrow at 2:00? Remember, don't schedule it for the following week because time kills all recruiting process. So you need to absolutely book it as quickly as you can. Afternoon meeting, team A, tee it up, bam, fam for the next day, give them homework that night. And now you're getting into some real moving the needle stuff at the following meeting. Lastly, you book it, you bam, fam them a third time for one of your success partners. And that success partner, like a Randy or Gail or whoever it is in your organization, will their job is to move them to the point of pre-onboarding, getting the ICA going, getting things moving, handling objections on why they wouldn't come over and take advantage of equity ownership and rev share and all the other things we have.